Okay, the next thing that we're going to talk about is what environment we're going to be using. It's going to be Ubuntu. Um, as I already described for a number of reasons, you're going to want to download this before the lab um, because it's 2 gigabytes. That's not terribly big, but your internet may or may not be consistent or good, or it may just be a bit slow for one reason or another. So just be aware of this. If you already have an Ubuntu virtual machine, that's fine. You can just skip the next couple steps of the install process and setting that up. I'm going to be going through it because not everyone will have an Ubuntu VM set up. We're going to be using VS Code for uh, our our projects. There's a number of reasons for this. Again, it's a consistent environment thing. There's also a lot of really nice, neat graphical ways to do some of the functions we're going to be doing throughout the lab. So we'll be using the command line throughout the semester because that's something that a lot of students generally have issues with, and you need practice with it because you'll be using it all the time in whatever domain you end up in that's related to computer science. It doesn't really matter which one you are. Um, so anyway, there's a number of extensions that are just really, really nice and convenient, and it's got a really big uh, network of community support. There's a lot of apps that are out there that will make your life easy. It's also good for a variety of different languages. If you're in CS 310, they have pretty much all the languages that you'll be using for that class in there as well. So it's a nice, convenient environment that kind of standardizes everything, puts kind of like centralizes all of your environments in one place. So you don't have to use one app for everything that you need to do. Um, for GitHub, it also makes it nice and neat and graphical, and you can actually see the difference in the files that you make, so you can see what changes have been made, and you can revert back very easily. And I'll show you more of that as we go along. It's got a lot of syntax highlighting, boilerplate code that it'll provide you. So I think you'll be seeing the benefits of this. It'll definitely pay up dividends quite nicely throughout the semester. It worked out really well last semester, so I was really happy with it, and we're going to continue using it. Um, let's see, the survey. So this is a general survey to kind of get an idea of where all of you are in terms of your current abilities, some demographic information, majors, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. Don't care. That's just useful for being able to kind of correlate things like skills and so forth with you guys. Your experience with some of the services and software that we'll be using throughout the semester. We will be looking at SQL databases. We'll be using PHP. We'll be using AWS. You're not expected to have any knowledge of any of this at the beginning, and you will hopefully come out learning something about how it's done. And we will also be looking at web application security throughout the semester because as developers, it is your responsibility to make sure that your users are protected, especially if you're working in a startup or a smaller company. They're not going to necessarily have an entire team dedicated to platform security or doing all kinds of vulnerability assessments. So you are the tip of the spear. The last two questions are particularly important, especially this one. So there isn't a particular reason that this lab needs to be done in person because everything is computer science. Everything's going to be done on virtual machines. It's I'm going to be posting videos ahead of time for how to do the labs, and all questions can be answered virtually. That said, a lot of people also are at home or may not have an easy time getting to campus, whether it's because of snow or family reasons or what have you. And at the end of the day, some people are also concerned about their safety or a variety of reasons why people don't want to come to campus, especially when I can't touch your computers or things like that. It kind of makes the exercise a bit moot. That said, I also enjoy human contact and seeing other humans in the wild, which is nice. So if everyone decides that they want to attend classes online for the lab, for this lab specifically, um, then select yes. If you want to attend the lab sessions online, just hit yes. Otherwise, hit no. In-person labs require us to also socially distance and wear masks and so forth. So some of you may be in an overflow position where you're in another classroom in order to kind of meet those needs. So anyway, after you're done, submit that. This will be one of the submissions for this lab. At the very bottom here, you also have the GitHub repo link. I want you to do this survey last. So what you need to do is you need to go on GitHub and you need to sign up. So you can figure out what kind of username you want to make. I'm just going to do something. Oh, great. That's available. Wonderful. So figure out what kind of username you want. Put in an email address. This email address is already taken by me. You'll go through this process. You'll create a GitHub account. Anyway, you'll go through that process and you will create a new repository. This repo name will just be something like lab or CS230, something like that. Okay, I don't care what you call it. It doesn't matter. The project that you're going to be doing throughout the semester is you're going to be building either a review website where you'll have a particular subject area or topic or thing that you review, like a movie review site, or I don't know, sneaker review site, or you'll be selling something, an e-commerce site. The labs that we have can be modified ever so slightly to fit either of those two directions, but you must have a site that does one or the other or both. Those are the options. There is no neither. There is no alternative on that one. And that's just so I can kind of standardize what I'm grading you all based on. If everyone does a completely different type of site, then you may not need or have a reason to have the functionality for what I'm teaching you. So anyway, it needs to be public. If it's not public, I won't be able to see it and you won't get a grade, and that'll be problematic for you. For the description, you can just put something like this. Okay. Don't put anything in here yet. You're going to create this repo. All right. Got it. After we make our first project, we will go through this process. We will have our first Git repo all established and everything, and we will connect it to GitHub itself. So when I'm talking about a repo on your device, that is a local copy. That is a local repo that has been initialized, as you can see right here. You'll add all the files that you have in that particular folder that you've initialized. You'll commit them, and you'll have a message saying like what you did, basically, like what is the purpose of this, of all the files. And then you'll attach it to a branch called main, and then, or you could just call this master, it doesn't really matter. And then you will basically link that local folder to GitHub, which is available and accessible on the internet. And then anyone who wants to, who knows your Git repo, can access it. They can pull down your files and everything, and they can make modifications to it. This is very useful, not only in business, it's useful when you're working on teams. You can collaborate. You can roll back code that's been pushed in the event that someone creates a colossal mistake. So Anyway, it's called version control. It's very, very useful. We'll be using it throughout the semester. You should get used to it, and it's something that is highly, highly utilized in both the public and private sector. You will 100% use it if you are in computer science and you expect to graduate. Um, let's see. So that's it for GitHub and the survey. The next thing is we'll get started with building our virtual machine.